Welcome to SA News Weekly News Update. We'll cover the top stories from across the United States, important developments worldwide, and new insights from the world of health and science.
The Supreme Court delivered a major political victory to the Republican Party this week, allowing the state of Texas to use its newly drawn congressional map for the upcoming election cycles. This decision directly impacts the balance of power in the U.S. House of Representatives. The map, crafted by state GOP lawmakers following the last census, was challenged by civil rights groups who argued it amounted to an unconstitutional racial gerrymander, diluting the voting power of minority communities, particularly Hispanic and Black voters, who are seeing rapid population growth in the state. However, in a split decision, the Supreme Court cleared the way for the map's use, at least for the immediate future, until a final ruling on the merits of the case can be reached. Analysts suggest the map could enable Republicans to secure up to 5 additional seats in the House, significantly strengthening their national majority. This ruling immediately elevates the issue of redistricting and partisan gerrymandering to the forefront of the national political debate, underscoring the deep ideological divisions regarding voting rights and electoral fairness in America. The fight is not over, as the core constitutional challenge to the map's fairness is still pending in lower courts, but the immediate implementation ensures this map will shape the 2026 midterm elections.
In a dramatic move this week, the Trump administration announced an immediate adjudicative hold on all asylum applications and immigration requests from 19 countries, citing a need for comprehensive re-vetting of individuals from high-risk nations. This policy shift follows the tragic shooting of 2 National Guard members in Washington, D.C., allegedly by an Afghan national who had previously been granted asylum. The administration stated that the move is a necessary security measure in light of identified concerns. The decision has been met with fierce condemnation from human rights organizations and Democratic lawmakers, who argue it is a form of scapegoating and discriminatory policy targeting primarily Black and brown migrants. Critics specifically point to the president's intensified rhetoric and reported deportation efforts against the Somali community in Minnesota, with one congresswoman labeling his remarks as racist and xenophobic. The hold affects thousands of people currently seeking refuge and legal status, sparking widespread protests and legal challenges. This latest action marks a significant escalation in the administration's crackdown on immigration and sets the stage for a protracted legal and political battle over the scope of executive power in asylum and vetting procedures.
Tensions between the United States and Venezuela have reached a new flashpoint this week after reports surfaced of a highly unusual and confrontational phone call between President Trump and Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro. Sources indicate that President Trump delivered a blunt ultimatum to Maduro: step down from power and leave the country immediately in exchange for safe passage for himself and his family. The ultimatum is the latest move in the U.S.'s 4-month-long pressure campaign, which has included a major naval deployment off Venezuela's northern coast. While President Trump confirmed the call, he offered no details on the content, saying only, "I wouldn't say it went well or badly." However, reports suggest Maduro refused the immediate demand, instead offering counter-demands such as global immunity from prosecution and the retention of control over the armed forces. This high-stakes diplomatic confrontation raises serious concerns among international observers about the potential for military escalation in the region. The U.S. continues to recognize Juan Guaidó as Venezuela's legitimate leader, making any direct communication with Maduro an extraordinarily sensitive event. The situation in Venezuela remains volatile, with an economic and humanitarian crisis ongoing, and this latest diplomatic move only adds to the country's instability and the potential for greater international involvement.
As Ukraine continues its grueling war effort against Russian aggression, a major political scandal erupted this week, highlighting the country's ongoing struggle with endemic corruption. The head of the presidential administration, Andriy Yermak, widely considered one of President Zelensky's most powerful and trusted confidants, resigned following a search of his home by anti-corruption authorities. The scandal involves high-level figures and is a potent reminder of the internal fight for a democratic, accountable government. For years, Western allies have stressed that combating corruption is just as vital as fighting on the battlefield, viewing it as a prerequisite for full integration into Western institutions like the European Union. Yermak's resignation, despite his central role in the war effort, is being cautiously hailed by some observers as a sign of progress, that even in wartime, Ukrainian institutions are capable of holding the most powerful figures accountable. However, the timing is precarious, coming amidst internal reports that Ukrainian troops are overstretched and desperately short of ammunition and equipment. This high-profile departure risks creating a political vacuum at a critical moment, forcing President Zelensky to navigate a significant political crisis while simultaneously managing the existential war with Russia.
In a rare piece of unequivocally positive environmental news, scientists this week reported that the ozone layer hole over Antarctica measured one of its smallest sizes in decades. The size of the hole, which typically peaks in the southern hemisphere's spring, was significantly smaller than average, a clear reflection of the success of the Montreal Protocol, the 1987 international treaty that phased out the use of ozone-depleting chemicals, notably chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs. While annual variations in the ozone hole size are common and often influenced by weather patterns, the long-term trend confirms that stratospheric chlorine levels are steadily declining. This achievement is often cited as a triumph of global cooperation in addressing an existential environmental threat. The ozone layer is crucial as it absorbs most of the sun's harmful ultraviolet or UV radiation, which can cause skin cancer, cataracts, and harm to ecosystems. Although full recovery is still years away, expected around the 2060s, this year's data offers a powerful reminder that global, collective action based on sound science can successfully reverse large-scale human impacts on the planet. As the world observes World AIDS Day, December 1st, highlighting the ongoing HIV/AIDS crisis, the spiritual organization of Jagatguru Tattvadarshi Sant Rampal Ji Maharaj has published a claim of a definitive cure. While medical science continues to manage HIV with antiretroviral therapy, or ART, but has not found a cure, the SA News report asserts that the disease can be permanently eliminated through true worship. This teaching posits that diseases like AIDS are fundamentally consequences of a soul's accumulated sinful deeds. The solution, according to the report, lies in receiving the name initiation from the complete guru, Sant Rampal Ji Maharaj. This true worship has the divine power to destroy the root cause, the sinful deeds, thereby removing the resulting disease and suffering. Sant Rampal Ji Maharaj says, medical science has failed to find a cure for HIV/AIDS. True worship cures for sure. This spiritual promise of a complete cure is contrasted with the official World AIDS Day 2025 theme, which focuses on overcoming disruption, transforming the AIDS response to mitigate policy failures and funding gaps. For followers, the path of Sat Bhakti offers an everlasting solution to both illness and spiritual bondage.
And that wraps up this week's bulletin. Thank you for joining SA News, and we'll see you next week. Truth that you want to know.